Thank you, Faye. Good evening once again. The clocks go forward tonight, and Brentford would love to fast forward to the end of the season if it meant Premier League survival. It's become a real grind, and they need big moments from their main players. United have been a moments team all season, some great, some awful, and they now need help from others to avoid a lingering sense of failure this season. A reminder of the two teams once again. Two changes for Brentford. Yarmolyuk and Lewis Potter come into the side. Onyeka is on the bench and Reguilon is suspended. It is Flecken in goal, Jorgensen, Collins and Ayer the back three. Roloslev, Janelt, Yarmolyuk, Jensen and Lewis Potter across midfield, with Visser and Tony in attack. United, Onana in goal, Dalot, Lindelof, Varane and Wan-Bissaka. McTominay and Mainu in midfield, Garnacho, Fernandes and Rashford behind Højlund. Lisandro Martinez and Casemiro back on the bench for United, and Brian Mbeumo will be an attacking option for Brentford later on in the evening as well. And really, Scott, getting Mbeumo and Tony on the field together again has got to be a major example of what Thomas Frank needs to do in the remainder of the season.
Absolutely, they're the key players up front, Nigel. Of that there's no doubt. Ivan Toney, and again, how will he respond? I thought he was superb, as we talked about in that game against Belgium. Now take that into your club form, where you're probably not going to be there next season, but make sure they are safe. Mbeumo coming off the bench will be very, very key, but I do think defensively they have to shore up. As I said before, you can't concede 2 goals in every game, how they've been in the last 18 games, and expect to win a match.
And it's United in their black and white striped away kit who will get the match underway. Brentford in their famous red and white stripes, black shorts and black socks. It has been a dramatic day in the Premier League. Goals galore, matches in the balance right to the very end. And we finish with a game here at the G-Tech Community Stadium, which means so much to both ends of the table. Brentford in real danger of relegation. Manchester United hoping for a place in the Champions League once again. And they get the match underway. And it's back with Andre Onana defending the goal away to our right in the first half. His long ball forward is flicked on by McTominay. Roloslev will go back to Flecken, the Dutch international, in goal for Brentford. His long clearance downfield is nodded back by Varane and eventually cleared away by Ayer on the edge of the penalty area. Brentford going with a back three. They've lost 13 of their 18 games this season with a back three, but only 4 of 11 when they played a back four. But Thomas Frank clearly trusting the process as they look to bring the ball forward now with Yarmolyuk on the far side. A rare opportunity for the Ukrainian under-21 international. In the end, it's worked all the way back to Flecken, and it's a high ball over the top, looking for Tony. He was tangling with Dalot, and it's gathered once again by Lindelof just in front of us.
Yeah, nothing much to report really, is it? Just two teams feeding each other out, not really getting 3, 4, 5 passes together, which is just what United are trying to do now. I wouldn't be surprised to see that ball go from Flecken to Tony, and Tony just try and out-muscle the central defenders of United.
United looking to play out as they did so here last season when it really cost them, and this time it works because Mainu was able to wriggle away from the challenge and find Rashford, who clips a deflected ball forward, which is cut out by Jorgensen on the edge of the penalty area. Now Jensen, who scored in the defeat for Brentford at Old Trafford back in October. They led that game for so long before Scott McTominay came on very late in the day and scored twice in added time. Really, in many ways, summing up United's season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, just interested to see how Kobbie Mainoo would respond after what was a sensational international break. Well, not really a break, but playing really well in those 2 games. He just received the ball with one of the Brentford players on him, and he just did that pirouette he did to João Gomes in the game against Brazil. I was interested in Onana still trying to play out. Brentford still trying to press, but he's playing that well at the moment. He fancies himself.
Tony flicks on into the penalty area. Visser is involved. Now Lewis Potter down the left-hand side for Brentford, looking to twist and turn away from Dallow. Has support from Yarmolyuk, and Yarmolyuk's done well down the left. Breaks into the penalty area, pulls it back towards the near post. Mainu with a clearance which doesn't make the distance. An acrobatic overhead kick from Visser is blocked, and United will finally clear. And now they can break. Fernandes with an excellent ball forward. Here is Rashford now, left-hand side of the penalty area. Hoyland in support. Rashford carries the ball a long way. Now needs support, or does he? Back to the edge of the penalty area. Fernandes with a right foot shot, drags it wide, and that was a chance.
Brilliant. I mean, end to end already, isn't it? Brentford getting down to the byline, cutting the ball back. United defenders really read that well, expecting that cut back rather than the whip across the 6-yard box, and then suddenly they counter-attack. Rasmus Højlund holding the ball up really well, and then just playing it in behind for Marcus Rashford. I have to say, Brentford defenders did really well. They doubled up on him, didn't allow him to come inside, but he held the ball up, laid it back to Bruno Fernandes, who had the first time shot. It just went wide, but I'll tell you what, it's already an open game.
3 minutes played here on Talk Sport at the G-Tech Community Stadium in West London. Brentford 0, Manchester United 0 in the Premier League. So many late goals today in our 12:30 commentary on Talk Sport, beginning game day at St James's Park. Newcastle 3-1 down with 7 minutes of normal time to play, beat West Ham 4-3. Seamus Coleman with an added time own goal, gifting Brentford, or rather Bournemouth, the victory against Everton. And Burnley twice coming from behind with 10 men to draw at Chelsea as Bruno Fernandes comes forward down the right-hand side, but his ball into the penalty area is closed down, cleared by Collins. Visser just unable to gather, and now Lindelof will bring it forward again for United. Fernandes takes over, further wide to the far side, and Garnacho. And United just trying to gather some poise on the ball here after what's been a frenetic start. 4 minutes played. Also today, Palace drawing 1-1 at Forest. Fulham coming from 3-1 down late on to draw at Sheffield United. And Son scoring a very late winning goal for Spurs to beat Luton coming from behind. It means United are 9 points behind Spurs with this game in hand here tonight, and 12 points behind Aston Villa with 2 games in hand. But at the moment, they are the outsiders in what looks to be a 3-horse race for 4th or possibly 5th in the Champions League.
Yeah, I'd say at the moment it's a 2.5-horse race. Yes. I think United aren't quite in it. They need to go on a fantastic run, and that's why tonight is so important.
Keane Lewis Potter coming forward now for Brentford. High diagonal ball into the area, looking for Tony, and Wan-Bissaka was aware of the danger in the vicinity, rises to head the ball behind for a corner.
Oh dear, but he's gone down, Ivan Toney, hasn't he?
I think he was caught by Wan-Bissaka as he leapt there to head the ball away.
Yeah, he did really well. I'm not quite sure. The two of them looked as if they came close. Maybe Wan-Bissaka came down. I just think he's kind of twisted it as he's turned. He's realising Wan-Bissaka's going to get there. There's a little bit of a, call it hill, but just a decline, isn't it, once the goal line goes. And I wonder whether he just wasn't expecting it there, and it looks as if he's in a little bit of pain, but he will carry on.
Ivan Toney hobbles back into the 6-yard area. Matthias Jensen will take the corner kick on this near side with his fair hair swept back by an Alice band here on what is a beautiful evening for football. Very still, very dry, although the temperature is dropping. We'll see what Toney can do here in his mobility as he attacks the first corner of the game for Brentford, with Jensen will take an outswinger high to the far post. Toney rising, and it was a free header in the end, but he glances it well wide of the far post.
It was a great ball in. You can see they worked at that. Ivan Toney, he just kind of holds his line really, and it's Marcus Rashford who's picking him up.
Or not,
yes, absolutely. And it was a free header, but it was one that came at him pretty quickly, but he's able to look at it from distance. He should be getting a better connection on that and at least hitting the target.
The long clearance downfield from Onana, Janelt, and then Ruderslev tried to clear the ball away, and in the end it's gathered by Wan-Bissaka, playing on the left of the United back four. He is the 6th different left back used by United this season. They've also had 11 different central defensive pairings due to injuries, and only Brighton have used more defensive combinations than both of tonight's sides. And it's also been a real issue for Brentford. They've shuffled around between the back three and the back four, but Ethan Pinnock, I think, remains a massive miss for them.
He does. I think he's a really strong player for them. Very good player indeed. Adds balance, adds height. Ben Mee, obviously, and then you've got the two full-backs or wing-backs who have been injured as well. Rico Henry's a player I really like.
And Brentford, a team who have lost 12 of their last 15 games. And injuries have been a problem, and of course Ivan Toney has come back into the side after his suspension, but is currently 5 games without a goal as Visser looks to close down Varane on the edge of the penalty area. He hammers the ball away. Garnacho with the peroxide rinse on the far side, tries to keep the ball in play, but it's played over the top again by Collins on the far side, but United will win it back. 8 minutes played here on TalkSport in the Premier League in West London on a Saturday night, and it's Brentford 0, Manchester United 0.
Tell your commentator then, Nige, just one you're talking about the Alice band, the other one peroxide rinse as well.
Yeah, I've got neither, by the way. Here is Højlund coming forward, and it's headed away eventually by McTominay as Brentford tried to clear, and now Lindelof on the edge of the penalty area, through again towards Mainu, does well to pick out Højlund, who lays it wide to Garnacho. McTominay takes over, high diagonal ball wide to the left hand side to find Rashford. Wan-Bissaka on the overlap, but it's a 1-2 between Fernandes and Rashford, who tries to play it into the penalty area for Højlund, but it's swept away by Ayer. But United will win the ball back, and Brentford very deep here at the moment as McTominay plays it wide to the far side, and Dalot. And Brentford have every single red and white striped shirt behind the ball at the moment.
Well, I'm not surprised. I think if United are playing the ball out from the back, they'll try and press high and create the mistake. And once United get the ball into midfield, they will just drop in and get 11 behind the ball.
Bruno Fernandes wide towards Wan-Bissaka. Good ball around the corner from the fullback, and then the back heel from Fernandes strikes Jorgensen and bobbles out to play on this near side for a United throw-in. And they've never been higher than 6th in the Premier League this season. 15 wins, only 2 draws and 11 losses, and they've only scored fewer goals at this stage of the season once in the last 33 years, and that was one of the seasons under Louis van Gaal.
We have to say it has been a horrendous season really, and yet if they were to win the FA Cup, or if they were to finish top 5, and that's enough for Champions League, that would be a great ending to it.
Now Visser coming forward for Brentford. He's got space, and Toney to the right hand side. Toney now gathers back towards Jensen. Toney will try and make his way into the penalty area, further back towards Jorgensen, and now Ruleslav. Jensen again, Ruleslav on the overlap. Jensen with a high ball to the far post. Lewis Potter does well to head it down for Yarmolyuk inside the penalty area, and now Potter again will try and take on Dalot back towards Yarmolyuk. Collins is forward, but his ball on the edge of the penalty area, headed away by Garnacho. Collins then does well to come back and nod the ball down, and Jensen will gather on the edge of the penalty area. Maybe thought about the shot, but here is Ruleslav to the right. An excellent cross into the penalty area, headed away at the far post by Varane, with Toney leaping just in front of him. Now Højlund on the edge of the penalty area. Kobe Mainu with an excellent ball forward. Bruno Fernandes wide to this near side, and Garnacho. Rashford is waiting down the centre. Brentford could be caught out here. Garnacho on the edge of the penalty area, tries to play it back towards Fernandes. It was short, but Fernandes comes in with the challenge on Jensen. No free kick according to Simon Hooper. Now Mainu on the edge of the penalty area. Wan-Bissaka further wide to the left, and Garnacho. And now Mainu again, finding Fernandes at walking pace, 20 yards out. He slips it straight into the path of Matthias Jensen, and Brentford will try and clear. We've played 11 minutes here on TalkSport. It's 0-0, and here's Scott Minto.
Yeah, I just think United, when they do get the ball, they've got to try and look forward quicker. But once you let Brentford get into position, very difficult team to break down when they've got 11 behind the ball. You can see how hard they are working. Just a couple of very minor things, though it might not end up being minor. Marcus Rashford did go back with Ruleslav, but he just allowed him to get the cross in, and it was a dangerous cross, headed well out by the United defence. He's got to get tighter if he's going to stop that cross coming in, and Kobe Mainu already It's just one or two touch play. His vision and his technique, it is superb. It really is. He's playing the game at his pace.
Well, there should be goals here tonight. There have been 54 at the G-Tech so far this season in the Premier League. Villa Park and Bramall Lane are the only stadiums to have a higher total in the Premier League, and Bramall Lane saw 6 more today. But there's only been 1 clean sheet at home for Brentford, but the flip side of that, Arsenal are the only side not to concede here in the Premier League this season from the visitors. Now Varane clips it wide to the far side, and Garnacho. There is space for him to try and attack Lewis Potter, who shows him the inside. Janelt then comes across to make a solid challenge, and the German will try and clear, but he's got support further back now from Lewis Potter. Slipped into the path of Yarmolyuk, and now Janelt again. The Brentford crowd rather urging their team to move the ball a bit quicker through midfield. Here is Janelt now with the ball over the top, seeking out Visser, who was heavily outnumbered, and it's one bounce into the arms of Onana.
Yeah, look, the crowd obviously want you to try and get forward as much as possible, but that's why you don't just do it, because the ball wasn't on, and it was trying to be inch perfect. In the end, it went straight to Onana, and you give the ball away. If it's on, yes, go forward, but if it isn't, that's when you keep the passes going and try and open up the defence.
Now Wan-Bissaka wide to this near side, and Rashford. 13 minutes played, goalless so far. Garnacho again on the edge of the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes back towards Rashford, who tries to shrug off a challenge. Back in field towards Bruno Fernandes, does well with this back to goal to find Dallow with a shot which is deflected behind off Collins, and it will be United's first corner.
Well, I think that might be a way for United, because they're dropping so deep, Brentford, and making it so difficult for these little 1-2s for Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund as well. Once they drop back, there's got to be someone who's there on the edge of the box ready for the shot. This time it was Dallow. You see, he looked to the sky because he felt that was going in. Very good block in the end, but United very much on the front foot right now.
Corner kick, which Bruno Fernandes will take on the far side. The United right, it's an outswinger towards that near post. Powerful leap from Janelt to clear. Garnacho will try and bring it down on the edge of the penalty area. He loses possession, but it's quickly recovered by Dallow. Now Rashford curls the high cross in. Once again, it's nodded clear by Collins this time. Straight back towards Rashford, but the challenge comes in from Jensen, and it will be a throw in to United on this near side. You're listening to Brentford 0, Manchester United 0 on TalkSport with Now. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Brentford against Manchester United live right now, contract free, with a Now membership. Search Now Sports. Wan-Bissaka will take the throw in on this near side in towards Mainu, and Mainu knocks it off Jorgensen. Maybe thought about trying to get the corner kick, but Brentford will eventually clear. Visser has given the ball straight to Varane, but it's all a bit frenetic, all a bit pinball in the midfield at the moment.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's United who's on top. They're the one who is pressing and not letting Brentford try and get any passes in at all.
Now Rashford down the left-hand side, finding Kobe Mainu onto his right foot, heading towards the right. And now Bruno Fernandes with the cross in, looking for Højlund, who controls the ball with his back to goal. Can he get the shot in? I think in the end he almost took the ball away from McTominay, who was steaming in. It's cleared away. Tony is fouled by Varane, and Brentford have a free kick midway inside their own half.
Yeah, he did, but I think that's United's best way at the moment, because it's so difficult. If you don't get to the byline and sort of cut the ball back, if you just whip crosses in or even just hang them in, this back three of Brentford will be able to deal with that. To get the ball into Højlund or to Rashford and lay the ball back and have a shot from 20 yards.
Lewis Potter now coming forward down the left-hand side, fires in the cross, which is way overhit. 3 bounces straight out of play on this near side, and it will be a throw into United, and that's a waste for Brentford to get the ball in that sort of area and do nothing with it.
Absolutely, they've hardly got into the final third of United, so when you do, especially Lewis Potter, that's where he wants to be. He's not a wing back. He doesn't want to be defending all the time. He wants to get forward, playing almost like a left winger. He was in that position, so once you get that half a yard, you've got to put the quality balls in, especially when you've been under pressure like Brentford have.
And a poor clearance on this near side from United. Jorgensen plays it into the penalty area. Visser tries to dart away from the challenge of Wan-Bissaka. Pull back for Tony, and in the end it was a crucial intervention from Lindelof, which was probably a goal-saving intervention, and the ball will scramble behind for a Brentford corner.
Well, again, this time it's Brentford pinning in United. There's a bit of pinball, and fair play to Visser for getting there first. He whips the ball back. It's one of those, especially from where we're sitting, Nigel. I'm thinking, is that going in? But it's gone wide by about 5 yards. It's a really important tackle. Was it Tony there waiting?
He was lurking. Corner's played short to Janelt. Left-footed ball, high to the far post. Nodded by Tony into the penalty area. It's loose and then slashed high over the top. It was another opportunity inside the penalty area for Lewis Potter, but it was deflected behind. Good spell here for Brentford, and they have another corner.
It's the best spell of the game for them, but that is no doubt. Good ball in. As I say, they've got the height. That's a really good block in the end from Rafa Varane.
17 minutes played, 0-0, but the home side have the wind in their sails here. Jensen over the corner kick, down their right. Attacking the goal away to our right. And this time it will be a longer delivery, high into the penalty area. And it evades the aerial duel between Tony and Mainu. But it's a high ball back into the penalty area from Yarmolyuk towards the far post. Jorgensen challenging with Bruno Fernandes, and the ball just strikes the shoulder of the United captain and goes behind for another Brentford corner here.
They did well there, Bruno. There must be a foot difference between the two. Well, Jorgensen actually could have been a little bit stronger.
He barely got off the ground, did he?
Yeah. There was a lot of snow coming down on the ball as well, wasn't there? So he had time to really come onto it.
Janelt from the short corner, back towards Jensen. Excellent cross into the penalty area, headed away again by Varane, straight back towards Jensen. Janelt pokes it further infield. It's claimed here by Yarmolyuk. Midway inside the United half, wide to the right-hand side again. Jensen riding the challenge of Bruno Fernandes. Janelt tries to slip it down the line. Jensen has robbed Bruno Fernandes, fires the ball in, and it's tipped away at the near post by Onana. It's still loose inside the 6-yard area, and eventually the ball back in towards goal is hammered away by Wan-Bissaka. And now Højlund with a defensive header, which eventually drops to Tony inside the penalty area, and it was Ayer, the central defender, still forward, looking to get the shot in. Now Visser, 25 yards out. Chaos on the edge of the United penalty area here. Visser now looks to turn. The crowd urging Brentford on. Tony is fouled by Dalot right on the edge of the penalty area, wide on the left-hand side, and it's a free kick, and that all came from a wafer-thin challenge from Bruno Fernandes on this near side.
Yeah, well, look, he defended well in the first place, and he got his body there, and then he was like wafer-thin, just shoved off the ball. It wasn't the best of crosses coming in, but they were able to keep it going, Brentford. As I say, just in the last 5 or so minutes, they've been really good, the home side. Now it's United on the back foot. Now they need to make sure they keep the clean sheet the next 5-10 minutes.
Nearly 20 minutes played, 0-0. A free kick wide on the left-hand side, but Ivan Toney may fancy this. He's over it with Vitaly Janelt. And United have now pulled every single player back behind this free kick. All of the outfield players are within 25 yards of the United goal here.
I'd want to see my big boys at the back just trying to get on the end of it. If he is going to shoot, he's going to whipping it in.
Well, Tony waves away Janelt, and it's played short, and then Tony hammers it in low, and it deflects away off Bruno Fernandes, and it's a Brentford corner down their left this time.
Yeah, fair play to Bruno there. He's the one who came out. It's a quick pass the ball in, touch, stop it, have a shot. And by the time that happened, Bruno Fernandes had come out and had defended well.
Janelt will take the corner kick in front of those United fans, all on their feet, all in good voice on the far side. Nearly 21 minutes played here on Talk Sport. Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. Janelt's corner in towards Tony, but it's over his head, hammered away by Varane. Quickly returned by Yarmolyuk towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's controlled by Tony, who seems to have shaken off that earlier injury. And now Jensen spreads it wide to Janelt, quickly down the line for Lewis Potter. Down the left-hand side, the cross in, flicked on by Jorgensen, had a real chance there. Another free header 8 yards out, but it floats over the top.
I think they should have done better there as well. They were able to get a 2-on-1 down the outside. Comes back in onto his right foot. It's a cross that come in. It's a difficult cross, to be fair. Jorgensen's almost just got to try and flick it on, because he's almost coming back and generate the pace, and because he's in line with the front post, it's very difficult to do that. He's just got to try and get a flick on more than anything else.
But Brentford weathered the early storm from United, and now they come forward again now. Visser Looks to pick out the run of Yarmolyuk down the right-hand side. The low cross in, though, was too close to Onana, who swoops on it inside the 6-yard area.
Yeah, no one was able to keep up with Yarmolyuk there, really, were they? You can see as the ball played out to him, it was a good run. He's just come inside Wan-Bissaka. A simple save in the end for Onana.
But Yarmolyuk has done well so far. Big night for the 20-year-old to come in against Manchester United. Now Rashford coming in field from the left. Tries to work the 1-2 with McTominay. Bruno Fernandes takes over. Dalot now. All very narrow for United, but the cross in almost finds Garnacho. He won the header above Jorgensen inside the 6-yard area, but it's a couple of yards wide.
Yeah, again, I think it's Brentford who are defending really well. In the end, it's just a ball to the back post. You can't see Garnacho jumping above this Brentford defence and heading it in the top corner.
Currently Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. For the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. Right now, Brentford 21-10 to win, 11-5 the draw, United 13-10 to win. Don't forget, Betfair are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute payout. Applies to match odds, 90 markets or markets with the 90 icon. All thanks to Betfair, 18+, begambleaware.org. 23 minutes played. Still goalless, but not chanceless so far. As Visser slips it forward towards Tony. He could be in for Brentford, and it's hit the post. Hits the inside of the post. Now Runeslev inside the penalty area, challenged by Wan-Bissaka, and what an opportunity there for Ivan Toney. Seemed to have done everything right, but United rescued by the woodwork.
Really good play there from Brentford. Again, one-touch play. Lovely touch. I wonder whether Tony was offside or not. No, he was definitely onside. It was Wan-Bissaka, the left back, keeping him onside. Went through the legs of Varane. And with someone like him, he'd be disappointed that's not got in the back of the net. It's a really good first touch and good strike. It's hit the post. That definitely would have counted if it had gone in.
Well, Thomas Frank applauds the effort on goal and also tries to wind up the crowd beneath us here to get more volume for them. As Jensen will take the corner kick. Again, it's deep into the 6-yard area, and it was a Brentford head which rose. It was Johan Visser this time, and he's frustrated because he heads it well wide. And how many free headers are Brentford going to have inside the United 6-yard area?
I'll tell you what, Nige, that is an absolute peach of a corner. It's one of those that Anana's, normally as a defender you're thinking, if it's anything in the 6-yard box, I want my keeper coming out, but it was kind of fizzed in. And that will be another chance for Brentford in the air. You get the feeling set pieces, they really can beat United, but at this moment in time, after the initial first 10-15 minutes, they've beaten them in open play as well.
Well, Steve McLaren and Erik ten Hag extremely animated around the technical area ahead of us here. Den Hag having words with Marcus Rashford. I thought maybe he was going to switch he and Garnacho for a moment, but he doesn't look too happy, Ten Hag, because United had early control of this game, but that's suddenly been relinquished.
Yeah, and they're not passing it out there, you can see, because they're worried of the Brentford press. So Onana's kicked it long. It's gone straight to a Brentford midfielder who, unfortunately for the home side, has given it straight back. So United have possession, but just those little things where you don't want to risk it. They realise they're under pressure at this moment in time, so don't put more pressure on yourself by playing out from the back.
Big game coming up in women's football tomorrow on TalkSport 2. Arsenal against Chelsea, the Continental League Cup final. Faye will be in the chair with Joe Shannon and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk on commentary. And then we resume the race for the Premier League on Easter Monday on the home of the EFL, TalkSport and TalkSport 2. It was an extraordinary day of twists and turns yesterday. On Monday, 12:30 on TalkSport, Leicester against Norwich. What a game that is after what happened yesterday. Game Day Live with Adrian Durham from 1 on TalkSport. We'll have all the goals as they go in. Stoke against Huddersfield, a big game at the bottom, is also on TalkSport 2 at 3. And then we switch to TalkSport for Ipswich against Southampton, an absolute monster game at 5:30, and a Yorkshire derby to finish. Leeds against Hull. Leeds looking to go back on top possibly after dropping points at Watford last night. That game's also on TalkSport at 8 o'clock on Monday evening. And the Championship at the moment is tremendous at both ends of the table.
Big day for Ipswich yesterday, wasn't it?
Big day for Leicester as well. I was at Ashton Gate and they were absolutely appalling. They've got some work to do. Tony now strides away from Mainu, slips it into the penalty area for Yarmolenko, and he almost got there, the Ukrainian, and it's hacked away in the end by Varane. But United here are all over the place defensively.
Brilliant tackle from Darlow, I have to say. Really good play from Tony. Visser first bringing it down. Tony going past. Kobbie Mainoo just diving in there. I tell you what, that's a wonderful recovery tackle from Darlow, and the ball comes out and bounces awkwardly in front of Rashford, but you expect him to bring it down, bounces off him, and it's a throw for Brentford.
Jensen will take it, and they may believe this could be their moment. Janelt, square towards Yarmolenko again, and now wide to Jensen down the right, and did Bruno Fernandes get a touch on that as he stretched? He didn't, and the assistant on this near side, Adrian Holmes, has given the goal kick to Manchester United. 27 minutes played, 0-0. We've had relatively few efforts on goal, but Ivan Toney hitting the inside of the post for Brentford, and at the moment Bruno Fernandes is now deep in conversation with Erik ten Hag, looking for another tweak.
I'll tell you what, if someone came in from abroad and didn't know which team was which, and which was chasing for a possible Champions League place, and which one was trying to avoid relegation, you would have no idea. If anything, you'd switch it around.
Now Garnacho coming forward for United, and Wan-Bissaka will now receive from Bruno Fernandes, coming forward down the left-hand side, cuts infield onto his favoured right foot. Now Bruno Fernandes again. McTominay turns to find Dalot on the overlap. Dalot with the cross high into the penalty area. Ruleslav does well to rise above Wan-Bissaka. I think he was pushed anyway, but it was claimed by Flecken before the ball went behind for a goal kick, and he quickly bowls it forward towards Jensen on this near side. Tony waits at the far post. The high ball towards Tony. He's got time to bring it down. Lewis Potter on the overlap, but Tony hits it right-footed. He was always going to shoot, and it strikes the body of Lindelof and spins out on the far side for a throw-in to Brentford.
Brilliant play from Flecken. He catches the ball, makes sure it's not a corner, and then he sees the run down the right-hand side. Really good long throw. And then Jensen, it's a fantastic ping across to Tony. I mean, it would have been some goal. 2 or 3 passes. He came inside. Lindelof engaged. In the end, it was a very good block. And even now, when United are on the attack, Brentford look dangerous on the counter.
Below Brentford today, Everton and Luton lost. Forest, Burnley and Sheffield United all drew, just to tighten things up. A long throw in towards the near post, flicked on by McTominay into his own 6-yard area, but Onana was able to claim, and he quickly bowls it out wide to the near side, the left, and Rashford. Half an hour played, 0-0 here at the G-Tech on Talk Sport. Saturday night football from the Premier League, as Bruno Fernandes brings it forward now, and we will have every single Premier League game from the midweek round coming up on the Talk Sport app, and there'll also be selected games on the Talk Sport network. Details of those to come in a moment, as Bruno Fernandes has it midway inside the Brentford half, wide towards Rashford again. Kobbie Mainoo takes over. Good ball forward to Højlund, who tries to spin, but his control was loose, and in the end it spins away off him, and it will be a throw into Brentford on this near side. On Tuesday night on TalkSport 2 at 7:30, Everton against Newcastle. TalkSport at 8:15 will have West Ham against Spurs. Then on Wednesday night, Arsenal against Luton, 7:30 kickoff. That game will be on TalkSport. TalkSport 2 will have Manchester City against Aston Villa at 8:15, and then on Thursday night, Liverpool against Sheffield United on TalkSport at 7:30. 8:15 it is Chelsea against Manchester United on TalkSport 2. Lewis Potter brings it forward now, high cross in, looking for Tony, headed away at the near post by Varane. It's another Brentford corner.
Well, again, it's that counter, isn't it? And even if United look like they're in control, suddenly now Brentford feels so confident they can go those 2 or 3 passes. What I was saying early on that United should have been doing in the first 10 minutes, go look a little bit more forward and quicker. It's exactly what Brentford are doing now, and it's another dangerous set piece that could come in.
Jensen will take it. And can Brentford turn this pressure into the opening goal here? Short to Janelt, down the right, back towards Jensen again, who is onside, whips in the cross, high to the far post, a header grazes the top of the crossbar, and it was another opportunity. It was Matthias Jorgensen, unmarked at the far post, a free header, didn't have to leave the ground, and it thudded against the top of the crossbar.
Well, do you know what? It's just really poor defending and basic schoolboy defending from United. It's a 2v1. You know, you can see if someone's coming short, then come out, someone else come out as well. It's allowed the cross to come in. It's a really good cross, perhaps slightly overhit, but there's Jorgensen at the far post, free header, couple of inches.
And there were two of them there. If it wasn't him, it would have been Janelt.
I mean, they're not picking up the cross, not stopping the cross, and they're not picking up the guys at the far post.
You're listening to Brentford against Manchester United on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. 32 and a half minutes played, 0-0.
I'll tell you what as well, Nigel, you hit the nail on the head when you said, you know, they're on top, they kind of need a goal. When you're on top like this, especially against a team like Manchester United, who are not going to play this poorly, certainly not in the second half, and you think they'd step it up even in the first. You need, when you are on top, you need to score that goal. If Brentford score that first goal, you get the feeling the way they're defending is not how they've been defending in recent months. They look really sharp, really together, that United will find them difficult to break down. So now they're on top, they need to find that first goal.
Brentford have had 7 shots so far, United 2. Nobody's had a shot on target, although Tony's hit the post. But Brentford's corner count is ahead 6-1.
We've had a post and a crossbar, haven't we?
Absolutely. Now Rashford, infield towards Varane, but as we said right at the start, United are a moments team and they can conjure something up. Mainu, wide towards Wan-Bissaka, infield towards Rashford. It was on the right foot for a second. Mainu, though, is challenged by Visser on the edge of the penalty area. The early ball forward now, and Tony has it. One-on-one with Lindelof, just outside the penalty area. Tony may need support, comes infield, left foot shot over the top. Visser was waiting for the pullback, but Ivan Toney slaps at the ground in frustration because he knows that was another really good chance.
He's slapping the ground because he knew, again, it's another counter-attack, and I have to say, it's a great ball in. They're so well drilled in terms of if that happens, just look for the ball over the top. And he knew he had Lindelof scrambling. He came inside on his left foot. If that was his right, you get the feeling he probably would have hit the target. So he did everything right, coming inside. Just in the end was leaning back and not able to hit the target and test Onana.
But now Rashford from a long ball forward, he is offside, and exasperation for Erik ten Hag as Marcus Rashford balloons his shot high into the crowd.
And do you know what, Nigel? Again, you just said about they're a team of moments, United. They are. That's exactly what they are. And you know, we talk about Ten Hag and is he going to stay, and you feel like he's on trial from now to the end of the season. And I personally would like to see him stay, because I think, you know, not all these players, but a lot of these players have just seen off managers left, right and centre. The culture hasn't been good. I think he's trying to instill the right culture, but he definitely needs results. It's all about what happens on the pitch. But the fact that they are a team of moments doesn't do him any favours, because it doesn't look like there's a pattern of play to them. It's just waiting for something to happen from someone special.
Yamoniuk with a high ball forward into the penalty area, nodded down again. Jorgensen was in there, so too was Aya. Fired towards goal and just wide by Janelt on the edge of the penalty area. Really caught hold of that left-footed. Onana was rooted, and it was a couple of yards wide.
He was beating Onana, wasn't he? He wasn't moving at all. Again, they're just getting the mix really well, really right. Sometimes they're going long, sometimes they're going short. This time it was a long ball into the box, a headed down, and Janelt struck it first time. It was a really good strike, wide in the end, but Onana hardly moved.
Well, a big period coming up for United. Of course, away to Chelsea, live on TalkSport 2 on Thursday. Brentford play on Wednesday at home to Brighton. You can hear that game on the TalkSport app. And then they're at home to Liverpool, which is always a big game and will certainly be a big game in the context of this season as a whole. But you look at April for Brentford, 3 games in succession, at home to Sheffield United, away to Luton and Everton. That's where they can clinch survival, or the flip side of that is they can be in real trouble.
Well, absolutely. I think we've learned with the Premier League it's very difficult to predict, but what you would say is, you know, you look at certain fixtures and you're thinking, if you want to get where you want to get to, you quite simply have to win those games.
26 points at the minute, you would think. Minimum 10, possibly 12 to survive. Wan-Bissaka clears the ball again on the edge of the penalty area, nodded further away by Højlund, who has barely had a kick inside the Brentford half so far. Now it's won back by Yaremchuk. Tries to find Tony on this near side, but he holds on to the ball, the Ukrainian. He's done well. Finding Janelt now, slipped into the penalty area. Great run by Ruleslev, square towards Visser, who hooks it over the top. I don't think Visser was set really to fire the shot in, but you wonder why Ruleslev didn't go for goal himself.
Again, they're just opening Manchester United up at the moment. And I think he felt, dare I say, it's a fullback not having a shot himself. To be fair, Visser probably was in a better position. It's not the best of balls to Visser at all. He's kind of dinked it up, so he's on his right foot now, got to try and keep it down and get it on target and get good contact.
You're a fullback, you would have shot from there. Well, you wouldn't have been there, you'd have been on the halfway line, because that's how you played.
I would have had a nosebleed.
Yes. 37 minutes played, 0-0.
There is that kind of, you're not in a great position. You can see, or you think someone's in a better position. So I think it wasn't the bad selection to pass. It was just it wasn't a good execution of it. Whereas if Ivan Toney's in that position, then obviously he is shooting.
Now Garnacho for United on the far side, but he's lost out to Collins, who has had a decent game so far for Brentford, and their back three has worked well, as it's high towards Tony again on this near side, but Wan-Bissaka is able to head away. Now Tony has time to spin and play it wide to Ruleslev on this near side. Ruleslev just shimmies, maybe disguises the ball to Tony, but it's back towards Jorgensen, who of course has Janker on the back of his shirt, as he has done for so many years now. And here is Ayer at the heart of their back three, finding Jorgensen again down the line for Ruleslev, who comes infield. Wan-Bissaka makes the challenge, and Simon Hooper has given the free kick. Wan-Bissaka was rather rash there, sliding in, and as a result Hooper shows him the game's first yellow card.
Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. You've got Rashford and Wan-Bissaka, who is one of the best man-to-man markers in English football, and he's going to ground. He doesn't need to. It's Kobbie Mainoo, in fact, with Wan-Bissaka, but Wan-Bissaka doesn't need to go to ground. There's two of you against one. Just stay on your feet and you probably will win the ball. And I was just thinking a minute ago, actually, for Ruleslev, this is perfect for him. He's bombing on as much as possible. Marcus Rashford's having to go with him. He's taking Rashford the other way. He would have been thinking he'd be really under pressure today, but he's loving it at the moment down the right wing.
Flecken will take the free kick, which is inside the United half. The Brentford goalkeeper launch high towards the far post again, nodded down inside the area, sliding in was Tony, and the shot was blocked inside the 6-yard area. United looking for a free kick. They have a player down inside the area, but a corner kick's been given, and once again it was Rafa Varane with the challenge, and at times he must feel as though he's playing Brentford on his own.
Well, again, he read the situation really well, didn't he? But it was just a ball into the box, and then see what happens. They win it, and he comes around, has that tackle with Tony. It's an important one, because Tony would have been in, having the shot first time.
But how many one-on-ones has Varane had in this game so far? We've only played 40 minutes, but 4 or 5?
Well, absolutely, and you think about the first 10 or so minutes, United were very much on top. So massive credit to Brentford, how they've been since. But they've got to get that goal.
That is the issue for them. Janelt will take the corner kick on the far side. 4 minutes to play in the first half. Deeper corner this time from Janelt towards the edge of the 6-yard area. Tony rising, but can't make contact. And Dalot, in unfamiliar territory on the left, will come in field and play it square again towards Varane. And United do have the opportunity to try and build from deep here. Bruno Fernandes wide towards Rashford on the left. Wan-Bissaka makes that move on the outside, but it's infield to Garnacho, and now Rashford again. McTominay made a burst towards the edge of the penalty area, but wasn't seen. Lindelof, and now Dalot finding Rashford 25 yards out infield onto the right foot. He hits it well, and it spun through the crowd, but it was a comfortable save for Flecken.
Yeah, it was. The deflection in the end, again, not allowing Rashford to have that kind of, we know what he's like from 25 yards out. It was good defending in the end from Yaremchuk. I think that's what United are resorted to at the moment, just long-range shots.
Well, only the top three in the Premier League have had more away wins than United this season. But they're under pressure here. Rudesleb found by Visser down the right-hand side. Early cross into the penalty area. Lindelof slides in before his goalkeeper. No communication there. In the end, it's gone behind for a corner. But that could have been so much worse for United.
Honestly, Nige, this is such great play from Brentford, you have to say. And look, you can criticise United. They should get a lot tighter. Rudesleb down the right-hand side. He is absolutely loving it. He's not having to do too much defensively against Rashford, and he's just playing a 1-2 around Wan-Bissaka, who's a wonderful defender. Plays the ball in first. You're just wanting one of the strikers to come in across the near post. Again, just the lack of communication between Onana and Lindelof means it's a corner.
Jensen will take it with 2.5 minutes to play in the first half here. 0-0. Jensen. The corner is headed away, then fired through the crowd at the far post by Amoliuk. Regathered once again by Ayer. And now back towards Jorgensen on the edge of the penalty area. Ayer again with the cross into the penalty area. Keane Lewis-Potter with the header at the near post, and it's saved going down low by Onana.
Well, it's a simple save in the end for someone of the calibre of Onana. But again, it just goes to show how on top Brentford are. I cannot believe that United would be this poor in the second half, and it will be interesting to see how, or if, Ten Hag actually does anything in terms of changing personnel.
Well, 43 minutes played. They've had 12 wins by 1 goal so far this season, and 8 of those winners have come in the final 15 minutes of games, so stay tuned.
No, absolutely. They've done really well, and we know that Brentford do drop points. This game is far from over in terms of anything could happen here. Absolutely anything.
Now McTominay finding Manu again. Midway inside the Brentford half. Wan-Bissaka slides it in towards Højlund, but it's a poor ball. Gave Højlund no chance at all. Jorgensen steps in and clips it forward over the top for Jensen. Now Bacco cross towards the left-hand side, and Visser, who controls it brilliantly ahead of Rashford. He then goes down under the challenge of Bruno Fernandes, but Simon Hooper, well placed, says no free kick. Visser pleads for one from the turf, but United come forward now with Bruno Fernandes. Højlund again, back towards Bruno Fernandes into the final 45 seconds of normal time in the first half here. Bruno Fernandes again, square, and then Bruno Fernandes goes down late. He's been caught by Visser, and I think that's a retaliatory challenge there from Johan Visser, and he'll get a yellow card for it.
Well, he's not happy with the ref, is he? I didn't actually see that. He passed it off, and Moyes followed the ball. The ball came back inside now. Fernandes, it's one of those. It's a foul, it's not a yellow card.
Well, he went down midway inside the United half under the challenge of Dalot, and looking at the replay on the monitor here in our commentary position, it was soft.
Well, it was, and it was one of those where Bruno Fernandes has played the ball, and his follow-through has meant that he's caught Visser. Okay, Visser's come in very quick and wasn't going to win the ball. Just give a foul, it's not a yellow card.
Into a single added minute. Bruno Fernandes clips it into the penalty area for Rashford, who tried to volley at the near post, but the effort was blocked. Keane Lewis-Potter will control in the left-back area, now hammers it high up towards the halfway line, but both Dalot and Bruno Fernandes are there to control, and the pantomime villain, as so often, is Bruno Fernandes, although in this case I don't really think he's done too much wrong.
No, and I also thought the pantomime season had gone.
Here is Lindelof now. It's British summertime.
Feels it.
Early tomorrow morning. Booze again for Bruno Fernandes. It's played forward towards Kobbie Mainoo. There goes the half-time whistle, and the home crowd rise to acclaim their team here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford have dominated long spells. They've had the chances, notably when Ivan Toney hit the post and a header from Matthias Jorgensen just skimmed the top of the crossbar, but crucially they haven't scored. Manchester United have not been good for much of the opening 45 minutes, but surely they will get better and have the Bees miss their opportunity. Half time, Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. Yeah, Harry Maguire is coming on, and it's Rafa Varane who is going off. Varane, of course, has had his injury problems this season, but did play 90 minutes in 9 of the previous 10 games in the Premier League, and as we said at stages in the first half, Scott Minto, at times it was Varane against the rest.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's not necessarily a tiredness thing, but there's a couple of tackles he put in, and probably feeling very, very sore now. It's not something I think Ten Hag would have wanted to do. I like Harry Maguire, I do. I think Varane was the best defender for United in that first half.
And Maguire is quick to hammer the ball away. United defending the goal away to our left in their black and white stripes in the second half. Brentford in their red and white stripes. And they have a free kick on the halfway line. And their team again is Flecken in goal, Jorgensen, Collins and Ayer the back three. Roleslav, Janelt, Jensen, Yarmolenko and Lewis Potter in midfield, with Visser and Tony in attack as Brentford come forward on this near side, but the back heel from Lewis Potter won't find Jensen, but Jensen's done well to play the ball off Dalot, and Brentford have a corner right at the start of the second half.
Well, they've started really well, hasn't they? And I think Thomas Frank would have been saying some of his last words going out was just forget the half-time, do what you were doing in the first half and start the second half in that way, and that's what they've tried to do.
Corner's played short towards Roleslav. Low ball into the penalty area, sliced by a United boot towards the far post, and it's hacked away by Rashford in the end, and it will be a throw-in to Brentford.
United midfield need to find a way to gain back control of the game that they had in the first 10 minutes. You win games in both boxes, but you control the game in midfield, and by the end of it, they weren't doing any of it. They were almost just hanging on in there. So the midfield of United need to start getting hold of the ball and just putting Brentford on the back foot.
Nearly 2 minutes played in the second half. I'll give you the United team again in a moment, but first of all, Brentford have a long throw, hurled high by Jensen towards the near post, headed behind by Maguire, and it will be corner number 10 for Brentford in this game. They've also had 14 shots in the match so far, but only one on target. United have had 3, and they've also had a single one on target, but Brentford need to make these chances pay. This is the sort of thing you see from a team who often struggle. They play well, but they don't take advantage of opportunities. Jensen with the corner into the near post, headed away. It's one back. Janelt goes down inside the penalty area. Players from both Brentford and United are down. It was a challenge on the edge of the penalty area from Garnacho. Simon Long, the referee, gave nothing initially. Stuart Atwell is the VAR official, and I wonder if he'll become involved here.
Absolutely will he become involved, and we've seen some dodgy penalties given today. I don't think that is a penalty myself, but then I've looked at a few that's gone on today and I didn't think it was. It might not even be inside the box. Difficult to see if it's on the line. If it's on the line, then it's in. But no, for me, that's not a penalty. It's not even a foul.
The United team again, Onana in goal, Dalot, Lindelof, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka now. Maguire coming on at half-time, McTominay and Mino in midfield, Garnacho, Fernandes and Rashford behind Højlund. And it was a coming together between Janelt and Garnacho, but if you look at the reaction from Janelt on the replay, he did rather go down in instalments. Now the ball is allowed to drop on the edge of the United penalty area, then they give the ball away. Here is Tony, found by Jensen inside the penalty area. I think he tries to nutmeg the player Maguire who was in front of him, but in the end it's scrambled clear, but Brentford try and win it back, and then it's hammered away by Dalot, and once again United really at 6s and 7s defensively.
Very much on the back foot. I'm not quite sure what Harry Maguire was trying to do there. He kind of went to the side on his knees, and Tony was still trying to get it through his legs, but it's very much Brentford on top, and very much how the first half ended.
17,138 the crowd here. 1,725 of those are here to support Manchester United as they try and come forward just in front of us with McTominay, but Brentford briefly win it back. But now Mino finding Lindelof once again. He can cross the halfway line with 4.5 minutes played in the second half here on TalkSport. Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. Rashford now picks his way through the challenges on the edge of the penalty area down the left. Plays it back to Bruno Fernandes, who fires in the shot. But it's a comfortable save on his haunches for Flecken on the edge of the 6-yard area.
Yeah, but it's better from United. At least one, they're getting into the final third of Brentford, and two, they're getting a shot on target. Not the ease of shots as well. It's kind of just dipping down, and Flecken does well. Rasmus Højlund was ready to pounce.
A reminder, earlier on today, on Game Day on Talk Sport at 12:30, Newcastle, 3 goals in the final 7 minutes, coming back to beat West Ham 4-3. At 3 o'clock, we brought you another late winning goal from Son Heung-min for Spurs, who came from behind to beat Luton by 2-1. Elsewhere today, Seamus Coleman with a very late own goal for Bournemouth to beat Everton 2-1. Burnley, with 10 men, twice came from behind to draw at Chelsea. It was also a draw between Forest and Palace. And Fulham, Rodrigo Muniz with a very late equaliser at Sheffield United 3-3. Rashford finding Bruno Fernandes. Now Rashford on the edge of the penalty area in towards Højlund with his back to goal. Challenged by Janelt, and Janelt will stride clear, but his ball forward is blocked by Bruno Fernandes. But now it's cleared by Brentford. But United have it back again. Bruno Fernandes to the left. And Rashford, who is onside, clips the cross into the penalty area. Diving to head the ball away at the near post was Ayer. But now Bruno Fernandes, square again towards Dalot. Right foot shot from him. Swings over the head of Flecken and just wide.
I tell you what, I was thinking, I'm not going to shoot from there, and he does. That is just inches wide. Flecken making it look, and he probably did have it covered. It's better from United. Just in the last couple of minutes, again, 2 chances, 1 shot on target, 1 shot just off target. Just trying to put Brentford on the back foot a little bit.
And in the late game today, Villa beating Wolves, as we heard, by 2-0. So they're now 12 points clear of United. United do have 2 games in hand, including this one. Villa currently 4th. Spurs 3 points behind them in 5th, which of course still could mean a place in the revamped Champions League. But United, starting this game, 9 points behind Spurs. And of course they've got Chelsea at home, or Chelsea away rather, live on Talk Sport 2 on Thursday, and then Liverpool at home next weekend. And really United in the market now, where they've got to win every game and hope, and even then it might not be enough. Brentford have given the ball away cheaply though. Bruno Fernandes tries to find Garnacho on this near side, but Lewis Potter manages to intervene, and he now gets it back from Nathan Collins on this near side. Jensen midway inside the Brentford half, finding Lewis Potter again, who steps away smartly from Bruno Fernandes, wide towards Yarmolenko. A high ball forward from him though is cut out by Wan-Bissaka, and it's back with Harry Maguire with the turquoise boots just in front of us, and he's played a good ball forward to find Dalot. Down this near side, the United right. Garnacho is further ahead of him. Only Bruno Fernandes and Højlund inside the penalty area. The cross from Garnacho is blocked by Collins, and he will clear. And here is Visser now, breaking over the halfway line for Brentford. Tony is ahead of him. Tony creates the space for Visser on the edge of the penalty area. Right foot shot from him is just wide, and he had Tony unmarked in the centre.
Well, again, another quick counter-attack, and it was just a clearance really that went in between the 2 central midfielders of Manchester United. Actually felt Kobbie Mainoo should have read the situation. He wasn't sprinting back.
And now Bruno Fernandes, no flag against him, breaking into the penalty area, square towards Højlund. Brilliant save by Flecken. Højlund clean through, hammered that left-footed, and Flecken made an outstanding stop to tip the ball behind for a corner.
That is an absolute sensational save from Flecken. It really is, and it's come from nowhere. It's a simple ball over the top.
It's miles offside.
He looks at least a yard offside, but it's not been given.
And in the end, the corner comes to nothing. The free kick's being given by Simon Hooper.
You would think if the ball had gone in, then VAR perhaps would have said, OK, we'll have a look at that and ruled it out, but we don't know.
Well, Brentford were furious there, but Højlund,
that's a great save,
kept out by Flecken.
That's a brilliant save. I mean, Højlund, to be fair, has hardly seen him, and it's not necessarily his fault. He's kind of stumbled into the shot, but he still managed to get decent pace on it. It's a really good reaction save and strong hand from Flecken.
Only 4 clean sheets in 28 games for Mark Flecken. in English football so far in the Premier League. Now Visser at the other end, bounces off a challenge, he's got support. Visser going into the penalty area, goes down under the challenge of Wan-Bissaka. Again there are appeals for a penalty, but Tony keeps the ball in play. On the right hand side, whips it in low, there's a miskick by Maguire. Yarmoliuk with a shot, brilliant save by Onana. The rebound is then blocked by the goalkeeper again. It was Lewis Potter with the effort, and somehow United escape thanks to a wonderful double save from their goalkeeper.
Where do we start with that? First of all, not a penalty. Second of all, two really good saves from Onana. Yarmoliuk had the shot, he's dived to his right. Lewis Potter's come in, he's pounced, and he's just made himself big, the goalkeeper. Really good, they practiced that so many times.
Well, play has been halted here. Sorry, Scott. And after a check, seemingly, play will continue.
It's not a pen. It's not a pen. There is contact, but just because there's contact doesn't mean to say that it's a foul and it's going to be a penalty. But just saying on Onana, you know, goalkeepers do that all the time, practicing. You dive, you make the save, you get up, and you're ready for that rebound. That's exactly what he did there. Brilliant goalkeeping.
10 minutes played in the second half. Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. But chances at both ends in what's been a thrilling start to the second half. Jensen with a long throw in towards the near post. It's loose inside the 6-yard area. Cleared away as far as Janelt tries to get the ball out of his feet. Tries to bulldoze his way through inside the penalty area. Then a shot is blocked, and then Ayer at the far post tries to hammer the ball in. That's blocked inside the penalty area, and it's scrambled away for a throw in, and once again Brentford are appealing for a penalty.
Well, I mean this in the best possible way.
But here is an opportunity again as it's fired across the penalty area, and this time it goes wide, and it was Ayer who was closest to it.
I mean this in the best possible way. It's almost like under 10s football, where there's just one ball, there's about 10 people just trying to kick it as quickly as possible, and in the end it's come out wide. There's a great ball that's whipped in. No one's able to get on the end of it, and Onana lets it go wide. But do you know what? This is a fantastic 0-0 game. We haven't got the goals that Faye wants, clearly, but we've got everything else.
Well, Brentford have not been involved in a 0-0 draw for 47 games in the Premier League. And that was at Leeds back in January of last year, as Højlund is penalised for some shirt pulling just inside the Brentford half. Erik ten Hag is talking to Adrian Holmes, the assistant on this near side, complaining about that. And we are about to see a change, and Anthony will be coming on for United. Maguire replacing Varane at half-time, and Anthony will be on shortly. No goals or assists for Anthony in the Premier League so far this season in 22 games.
He'll be thinking about that goal he scored in the FA Cup though, won't he? And certainly Ten Hag will be saying that to him as well.
Now Brentford looking to come forward again. On the far side, it's back towards Nathan Collins down the right. And now Ruderslev scoops a high cross into the area. Jorgensen's underneath it, and the shot from Visser flashes just wide. Really caught that well on the volley, and once again Onana was nowhere, and it whizzed beyond that far post.
Well, again, it's another high ball that they're just not able to deal with United. Onana's beaten, absolutely beaten. It's a wonderful strike, and it clips the post. He's so unlucky, Visser there.
Well, Garnacho is coming off, and Anthony is coming on. Well, you could argue that Garnacho's been on the periphery of the game, but you could also argue he's barely had a pass.
No, he hasn't really been involved, but neither has Marcus Rashford. I think it was almost a flip of a coin to see who to take off. And sometimes it is just the bigger star you keep on. But, well, look, let's see if Anthony can make the impact he made in the FA Cup, or will he carry on his poor Premier League form?
Well, Rashford has scored 5 in his last 9 in the Premier League after only 2 in the previous 18. So he is in some sort of form for his club. Here is McTominay down the line again for Wan-Bissaka, and Rashford takes over down the left. Højlund waiting inside the penalty area. The 1-2 has worked between Rashford and Wan-Bissaka, but the attempted ball in is hammered away by Jorgensen, regathered by Dalot. And of course Højlund has scored in 6 successive Premier League games, and he almost made it 7 in a row before. If he does that here tonight, he'll be the first United player to score in 7 successive Premier League games since Ruud van Nistelrooy. And he's had one chance. one pass, basically.
Yeah, and that might even have been disallowed, even if he did stick it in the back of the net.
You're listening to Brentford against Manchester United on TalkSport with Now. Don't forget, with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like this game live right now, contract free with a Now membership. Search Now Sports. An hour played, terrific atmosphere inside the G-Tech. No goals, but I think both sets of supporters really appreciating the importance of this game, and the home fans in particular will have been encouraged by what their team has done, but they'll also be frustrated they've not yet scored.
Yes, the home fans that we're looking at the performance and saying that we are the better side at the moment. We've said it a few times. Well, they rue the fact that they haven't been able to get that first goal.
Now Visser on the halfway line, plays the 1-2 with Tony. Visser now striding forward, has Yarmoliuk in support on the edge of the penalty area. Yarmoliuk takes over now, looks for Lewis Potter at the far post, the high cross in towards Keane Lewis Potter, and in the end he rose above Anthony but heads it wide.
Yeah, unlucky, but again, just fantastic counter play. The pace that they've got, United just not able to live with it at the moment. And Yarmoliuk, to be fair to him, a real good box-to-box player, isn't he? If he does get a goal, he'll be Brentford's youngest Premier League scorer, but looks like he wants to try and get in the box as much as possible.
Brentford now with 19 shots in the game, 3 on target, and that has been their big issue. And of course 2 of those shots came in the same move, with an Arna's double save early in the second half, as the crowd on the far side want a free kick for a challenge on Tony. Nothing given, and United have a throw in. Don't forget, women's football coming up at 3 o'clock tomorrow on TalkSport 2, the Continental League Cup final, big game as well. Arsenal against Chelsea. Chelsea going for the quadruple in Hemmer Hayes, his final season in charge. Faye will be in the chair with Joe Shannon and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside her, and we have 4 commentaries from the Championship on Monday, beginning on TalkSport 2 with Leicester against Norwich, followed by Huddersfield travelling to Stoke at 3, then at 5:30 on TalkSport, Ipswich against Southampton, and then Leeds against Hull at 8 o'clock. And Game Day Live with Adrian Durham on TalkSport from 1. We'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in, as the games begin to run out in both the EFL and the National League. And we will have commentary on every single Premier League game from the midweek round coming up this week on the TalkSport app. Also on TalkSport, Tuesday night, West Ham against Spurs, Arsenal against Luton on Wednesday, Liverpool against Sheffield United on Thursday. On TalkSport 2, Tuesday, it is Newcastle Everton. Wednesday, Manchester City against Villa. And then on Thursday, it is Chelsea against Manchester United. Download the app, go to the live commentary section, and you can follow all of our games coming up over a very busy conclusion to the Easter weekend and beyond. 17 minutes into the second half. Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. But the scoreline does not really tell the story.
No, it does not. It really doesn't. And the goal attempts for Brentford now have got up to 21, and I just went back a little bit. The Everton game, the last league game, United faced 23 shots against City 27, Fulham 17, Luton 22, Villa 23, West Ham 22, Liverpool in the Cup 25. This is not a team that looks compact in any way whatsoever.
Now Janelt breaking into the penalty area. Jensen with the cross in from the right. It'll be recovered by Tony at the far post. He's got support on the edge of the penalty area from Lewis Potter. He looks to check back onto the left foot. Now inside the penalty area. Wide towards Tony again. And it's all the way back to Yarmoliuk. And he has really taken the eye so far this evening, but commentators curse as he gives the ball away. Too much McTominay. And United have a throw-in on this near side.
That can happen. But, my point goes back to what you said in the first half about United are where they are and they're chasing the Champions League place, and they are. But they're doing it on moments. Lost a lot of games this season. They're conceding a lot of shots. It's just not good enough. They're a million miles away from where they want to be. But they're hanging on in there in terms of that Champions League race.
Well, they conceded 23 shots against Everton and won 2-0. Now Tony on the volley on the edge of the penalty area. Jensen lifted a high ball forward and Tony hit it on the run first time with the outside of his left foot, and it curled just over the top. What a goal that would have been.
And you know what? He finds himself just in between Darlow and Maguire, and he's stretching, and he knows that the defenders, once he takes that touch, they're going to be all over him. So he takes it first time. So to do that on his left foot, leaning back, yes, he's not hit the target, but still got a good strike, a good connection on it. Again, very much on the front foot, Brentford.
And although United have a porous defence, they've still picked up 19 points in 10 games. Lindelof now with a poor defensive header, but Maguire helps him out to stoop and nod it down towards Wan-Bissaka on the far side. Now Bruno Fernandes, high ball over the top, but it's cut out by Jorgensen, hammered clear by Ayer. Bruno Fernandes, who is very deep again, with a sumptuous first touch on the far side, into the path of Højlund, who gathers. Now McTominay takes over on the edge of the penalty area, right foot shot from him, but he was never quite set for it, and it's skewed off the outside of his right boot, and it's high and wide.
Not really seen a lot of him today, have we? We know he can score goals, he can score very important goals, and Brentford certainly know about that. Late goals. And he's not really got in the game after a good start. Kobe Mainoo's not in the game. As I say, in terms of chances, not creating too many, but they're not creating and dictating the tempo of the game either.
I think Brian Mbeumo will be coming on very soon for Brentford, and that could be a key change as we approach the midpoint of the second half here. Still goalless. Jensen high over the top, looking for Visser down the right hand side. Tony makes the run into the penalty area. Visser now has got support from Rudeslev. He can burst into the box now, pulls it back low towards the near post, looking for Yarmolenko. But again, United will smuggle the ball away, but they've given the ball away. Bruno Fernandes has lost out. Here is Rudeslev again now. Comes in field towards the edge of the penalty area. And now the low cross in from Yarmolenko is deflected behind. It will be another corner. Corner number 12 for Brentford.
It's just incredible, isn't it? You watch this game, how on earth is this 0-0? And by the nil column, I mean Brentford's so much on top.
Could be another defensive injury for United here. Victor Lindelof is down. They've already lost Rafa Varane due to what we presume is an injury tonight, because he was their best player in the first half.
Yeah, well, at least they've got Lisandro Martinez who can come on. He's not a bad replacement, is he?
Yeah, but he's only been available for 4 of the previous 34 games, and he is coming on now. Picked up a knee injury, the latest injury on February the 4th. Only 3 starts since September. But he is undoubtedly a player in the world-class category, and United need him now, because I don't think Lindelof will be able to continue, and both of United's starting central defenders in this game could be going off injured.
I mean, what I would say is if they're both fit, Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez, I did want to know what your best 2 centre-backs are, so I don't think they'll lose out too much.
It is tonight.
Well, yeah, they'll have to make sure he's up for this. Of course, he had a tough time, didn't he, this time, not this time last year, but the last time he played at the G-Tech.
I was talking to one of our colleagues downstairs, and he said the first half was just like the game in August of 2022. The only difference was Brentford hadn't scored 4 goals.
I think he's right.
Well, then Lindelof is coming off, and Lisandro Martinez comes on, and he will have to help his team defend a corner here. With 21 minutes to play. And it's still Brentford 0, Manchester United 0 on TalkSport. The corner in from Jensen. Nodded clear at the near post by Højlund. Yarmolenko will gather now. Forward towards Ayer. He jabs across into the penalty area, and at the near post, Wan-Bissaka lunges in to concede another corner, which Tony will take this time, and Mbeumo and Damsgaard will be on shortly for Brentford.
Well, it shows you on top when your centre-half picks the ball up just on the left side inside the box and plays it with the outside of his right foot, as if he's a winger. Very much on top. And I think, listen, I understand the Mbeumo. I think it'd be harsh whoever. He's not taken off Ivan Toney. It's probably Visser. Harsh on Visser. I think he's played really well.
Janelt will take the corner kick. 20 minutes to play. And this will be another outswinger. Left-footed, high to the far post, and the overhead kick is over the top, inside the 6-yard area. I think it was Keane Lewis Potter who tried the acrobatics, but he got right underneath it, and another chance goes begging from close range.
Again, it's another ball into the 6-yard box in the corner, and Onana not coming anywhere near it. It's a headed ball back. It's a difficult skill for him to get that one on target. He's unlucky there.
Yeah. Visser off, and Brian Mbuemo coming on. And the other change sees Yamuliak coming off, and he'll be replaced by a player who arrived here with really high hopes, Mikael Damsgaard, but he's had injuries, particularly in the first half of this season, and this is 15th appearance of the season, and 13 of those have come from the bench. So Damsgaard and Mbuemo coming on, and Visser and Yamuliak going off.
It's a tough one, isn't it? You know, you feel like you're on top and you want to go and win the game. It's not quite happening in terms of getting that elusive goal. Versus, actually, if I bring players on that might need 5 or so minutes to get used to the pace of the game, am I going to give, you know, a little bit of the action back to United?
Well, Damsgaard has given the ball away with his first touch, and here is Rashford coming forward now, but he does well to get back and recover. But again, he's given the ball straight to a United player, Wan-Bissaka this time. Bruno Fernandes, now Dalot, square towards Anthony. He comes in field, he curls the ball in, oh, it's just wide, left-footed shot from Anthony. This time Flecken was beaten, and Anthony so close to breaking the deadlock.
Wow, that was close, wasn't it? And we were right behind that as well. And you're thinking, no, that's not going to... No, yes, it is. Oh, and it doesn't. And he's thinking it might go in as well. Flecken certainly went for it.
And Flecken now having to play the ball out, but he's done well. It's a brilliant ball from him to find Collins, who breaks over the halfway line on this near side. And Mbuemo takes over. And Mbuemo with the cross in, looking for Tony! Ivan Toney has done it, but the flag has been raised, and it won't count. And Mbuemo arcing the ball in, and Tony was clattered into as he volleyed the ball into the net. And the agony for Tony will continue because the goal has been disallowed.
Well, first of all, defensively, I mean, that's tight for offside, but it probably just is. VAR, well, Nigel, we could be here for the next 5 or 6 minutes if they decide whether that's offside or not. But what I would say first
of all... was he fouled as well? Was he pushed over inside the area
if it's
before
offside,
he made contact?
If it's offside, that comes before the push.
That's true.
So it's all about being offside. But first of all, Brian Mbuemo has given so much space for United. Defence just dropping off, the midfield nowhere near him. He's able to just turn, look up, play the ball, wonderful ball to Ivan Toney. And they're just working out now whether it is Martinez keeping him onside or not. I think he's just offside. But again, we haven't been given any lines, and the fact that we're looking at it and we're saying we think is tight.
It is very tight. Tony was just on the shoulder of Martinez. Stuart Atwell, the VAR official, is looking on. We have a shot of him in his booth at Stockley Park watching this. They are putting the lines in now, and it's offside. It won't count. And a brilliant finish from Ivan Toney comes to nothing.
It's unlucky, but I think it is the right decision. Once the lines came in, made it obvious. It was tight, it was close, but it was the right decision.
Good call by Simon Long on the far side.
Absolutely, really good call. And look, you know what, we have a go at referees, we have a go at the assistants as well. You know, that was tight, he went with that, he got it spot on. Great finish it was from Toney, and look, again, they can still feel that, okay, we've hit the bar, we've hit the post, we've scored, but it's not been allowed. Let's go on and win this game.
But that is the value of the Mbuemo-Toney partnership. I know it was offside, but it was a pinpoint delivery.
Yeah, look, I think Visser was brilliant as well.
Mbuemo closing down the back pass, which Onana just has to hammer the ball away. Bruno Fernandes forward towards Anthony, who seemed to leave something there on Collins, and it's back to Flecken.
Yeah, I think the Tony Mbuemo, you know, it's a great option to have for Thomas Frank. You have to say now Mbuemo's back. You know, they haven't started a game yet this season, Tony and Mbuemo. That's kind of like the 18, but I like this. I think he's a really good player. He's unlucky not to have scored tonight as well. Of course, he hit the post as well, so that's 3 times they've hit the woodwork. They've been very close, Brentford.
15 minutes to go, 0-0, and Buemo on the far side, the right, has support from Jensen. Jensen with the cross in, blocked at the near post by Martinez. Both of United's starting central defenders off injured in this game. It's Maguire and Martinez since half-time. Now Jorgensen. And you can hear the home crowd right behind their team in this game. They may regard this as 2 points dropped if they don't win it at this stage. Damsgaard squeezes it down the line, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. You're listening to Brentford against Manchester United on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. 15 minutes to go. United have won 8 games by 1 goal in the final 15 minutes of Premier League games this season.
Well, I was going to say daylight robbery. It's not quite daylight now, is it? But if they do get a win out of this, then they certainly wouldn't have deserved it. But you know what? Teams will get what they want in the end, somehow find the way of winning. But I just think, even though, look, Brentford are by far and away the better side here, it's still a very good point for Brentford. It really is, and they'll take a lot of confidence from the performance. But if they can get all 3 and actually go, what would it be, 7 points ahead of Luton in 18, that would be
points.
massive. Would it be 5? They'd get an extra 2, wouldn't they, if they get the win?
Sorry, yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, yeah. It'd be 5 points if it stays like this, yeah. High ball played forward. Ayer inside the penalty area. It's flicked on again by Jorgensen. Head tennis continues on the edge of the penalty area. Janelt plays it back in. Maguire is there to clear. Janelt now gets the ball on the ground. Wide again towards Lewis Potter. He drives in the shot. It was almost deflected off Martinez, but he ducked out and it was clung on by Onana. Onana is then bumped by Tony inside the area, and he goes down, appeals for something, and very quickly gets back up.
Get up. You know, Ivan Toney's put it on you a little bit, but it's not a foul. And I tell you what, it was a really good strike, that, from Lewis Potter. And you're right, there was a little bit of a deflection from Martinez, but fortunately for Onana, it didn't really go left or right. So in the end, it came straight to him, but very well struck.
Brentford at home to Brighton on Wednesday. You'll be able to hear that game on the TalkSport app. Download the app. Look at the live commentary section. We have so many games coming up on Monday from the EFL Championship, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from the Premier League. All 10 midweek games live and exclusive to the TalkSport app, with 6 games across the TalkSport network.
Brilliant, isn't it?
What a great time to watch football over an Easter weekend. Fantastic day yesterday, stories everywhere up and down the leagues, and it will be the same on Monday as well. Flecken now with an early ball over the top. It's allowed to bounce, and the shot from Buemo comes back off the crossbar, headed back in field, and again Brentford denied by the crossbar. United living incredibly dangerously here. Damsgaard wide on the far side. He's got support from Ruleslave, but it's scrambled away. But the Brentford crowd rise all around this stadium. Thomas Frank once again is the auxiliary cheerleader inside the technical area. Straight ball down the middle, and United were all over the place.
Oh, it was a straight ball, just a dink over the top from Flecken, and he causes so much havoc in there, doesn't he, Ivan Toney? And the fact is that he was able to just push a few players out the way. It fell to Buemo. He's got on his left foot. He'll be disappointed he's not hit the back of the net with that.
Jensen winding up for another long throw on the far side in towards the near post, headed up in the air initially. Janelt with a miss kick, flick towards goal. Tony challenging with Onana, who clings on well together. Casemiro and Mason Mount will be coming on shortly for Manchester United. It will be Mount's first appearance in the Premier League since early November, and of course Casemiro coming back from a hamstring injury, and this would be his 450th league appearance in Europe.
Well, I talked about sort of trying to regain the tempo of the match, and you get that in the midfield, and that's exactly what Ten Hag needs to do. You know, Kobbie Mainoo, we know what a wonderful talent he is, but I just think it's one game too far, and maybe this substitution is 10-15 minutes too late. But still 0-0 at the moment. United could still nick this.
Maino and Rashford coming off. Mount and Casemiro coming on. Currently Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. For the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. Right now, Brentford 11-5 to win. The draw is 10-7 on. United are 9-2 to take the victory. Don't forget, Betfair paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute payout. Applies to match odds 90 market or markets with the 90 icon. All thanks to Betfair. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Now Højlund back towards Dalot. 10 minutes to play here at the G-Tech on TalkSport. Bruno Fernandes with a low shot, but again it was a hopeful effort, left-footed from the edge of the penalty area, trundled into the arms of Flecken. He quickly bowls it out to this near side, and Lewis Potter has support from Damsgaard. He's closed down though by McTominay. Anthony quickly finds Casemiro, lofted over the top, but cleared away by Ayer. Ayer though was caught late there by Mason Mount, and it will be a free kick to Brentford midway inside their own half.
Well, it was little and large. I don't think Mason Mount needed to make that challenge. Ayer was under pressure. He was only going to try and just make a clearance. He was just giving the ball away and giving it back to Brentford.
Mason Mount making only his 9th Premier League appearance for Manchester United. It's been a season wrecked by injury as Ayer heads away under pressure from Højlund midway inside the Brentford half, and now Janel with space down the centre to bring it forward. Right to the challenge of Casemiro, wide to this near side, and Lewis Potter. The cross high into the penalty area. Onana fumbles it, and he gets lucky because it's scrambled away by Wan-Bissaka. Jorgensen pings him a shot, blocked by McTominay, who was winded by that, and then Tony with the delivery into the penalty area, deflected behind for a corner.
You know what? How on earth is this still 0-0? It's unbelievable. Cross comes in, and no one gets onto it, and Onana just drops it. He tries to catch it and drops it. Wan-Bissaka, well played for reacting first. Got away with that one, the goalkeeper.
The cross was deflected, but he had a long time to look at it.
Still got to judge that.
And Mbeumo will take the corner kick on this near side as we tick into the final 8 minutes here on TalkSport. Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. This will be only United's 3rd draw of the season. And Mbeumo with the delivery towards the near post, flicked on by Tony. It was a very clever effort, but it was always rising over the top.
Well, it's still brilliant of him to somehow get there first. You can see it's another well-worked one, but to try and direct it on target, in the end it goes over. It's on his left foot, it's difficult. It's falling backwards already. 25 attempts, 26 now. Brentford, just incredible.
But only 4 on target, that's the story really.
Yeah, but
United have had 3.
Yeah, but Flecken hasn't been tested, not properly. And this is where stats can be misleading. They've hit the woodwork, don't call it woodwork anymore, but 4 times, and that won't count. Brentford have absolutely dominated this game, and yet you look at the stats and say, well, 4 shots to 3 on target, it looks close. No, look at the goal attempts, 25 to 8. That tells more of the story.
Jorgensen has received a yellow card for a challenge on the far side, still complaining towards Simon Hooper. And it will be a free kick for United inside their own half with 7 minutes to play. And they go all the way back towards Onana. Lunging in was Tony, but he can't cut out the ball which was played across the penalty area. Now at the other end, Bruno Fernandes was chasing forward. Lewis Potter though with the back pass towards Flecken. And he clears long downfield. Damsgaard wins the ball in the air. Maguire does just enough to hammer the ball back towards Lisandro Martinez, and he's gifted the ball to Tony. Tony breaks into the penalty area, tries to go back onto his right foot, tries to pick out Mbeumo, and does neither. And United will clear.
Nigel, I don't know what I just saw there. Lisandro Martinez giving the ball away, and Harry Maguire catching up Ivan Toney.
And Mbeumo now on the edge of the penalty area, caught by Casemiro, and it's a free kick, a yard outside the box right of centre, as Godos and Mopai prepare to come on here for Brentford.
My goodness me, I mean that just shows. You're talking about Someone has been involved in winning World Cups. Just, I don't know what he was doing there. Again, going back to kid stuff. And then Ivan Toney's just not direct enough. He's not quite got the ball under control. So Harry Maguire is able to come back. By the time he brings it onto his right foot, Maguire's there in a situation just to push him away. Good defending, you have to say, from the England international.
Toney over the free kick on the edge of the penalty area, and it's so close to the penalty area as well, and Mbeumo could also hit this left-footed.
He's got to. It favours a left footer for sure.
It'll be Toney or Mbeumo, and we have 5 minutes to play on TalkSport in the Premier League on a big Saturday night in West London, where it's still Brentford 0, Manchester United 0, but United at the moment are clinging on for a point here. On the balance of play, it's one they would barely deserve, but Brentford have missed so many opportunities in the game. What can Toney and Mbeumo do here? It's Toney who hits it, and it's an anti-climax, right-footed wide of the near post.
Well, he's just pulled rank there, and he shouldn't have done. You know, Bryan Mbeumo, it favours a left footer and go either way. For him to sneak that round the wall, and let's face it, he has done that before in his first game when he came back, but that angle was even tighter.
And the wide players are being changed for Brentford. Rudesleb and Lewis Potter are coming off, and Godos and Mopai are coming on. So Mopai will play presumably on the right. He's just having words with Matthias Jensen, and Godos will come on to try and attack down the left.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what type of formation Thomas Frank is wanting to play, but what you can definitely say is this is attacking. Well, he's going to try and go for it.
Cleared downfield by Onana. Now Casemiro. And the way United's season has gone, you just wouldn't put it past them to nick a winning goal here.
If they were to nick a winning goal, they should be embarrassed, really.
But look in the paper, it would say.
No, it wouldn't matter. It absolutely wouldn't matter.
Now Jorgensen hammers the ball away. Wan-Bissaka with the header over the top. It drops to Mount on the far side. Now Wan-Bissaka down the left in front of those United fans. He can attack the penalty area. Challenged by Mbeumo. Wants the corner kick, but a goal kick's been given, and the United fans on the far side are absolutely furious. And we have 3 minutes of normal time to play. It's not been 4-0 this year for Erik ten Hag, but it's not been good either.
No, listen, I don't think the performance actually has been that different from the game here last season. Just the scoreline. Brentford have absolutely dominated this game. As I say, they've hit the woodwork 4 times. Onana's made some really good saves. Flecken, yes, there's been some shots on target, but they've all been really at him. Apart from that one, there was that one opportunity, wasn't it, where we think it was still, it probably would have been offside, but we don't know.
Shot, yeah. Tony's had a goal disallowed. He's hit the post, and Mbeumo's hit the bar. We've also seen Brentford hit bar and post on 2 other occasions. Toney now flicks on for Mopai inside the penalty area. Dalot gets there first. Dalot goes down. Mopai's also there clutching his face, so the referee will have to stop play here. And I'm not sure what happened there. Dalot was the first player to go down, but I think he maybe clipped the head of Mopai because he's struggling as well.
I don't think we're ever quite sure what happens when Neil Mopai's on the pitch. And just it was a. I mean, look, Darlow's the one who's kind of had his head back.
He's butted him, hasn't he?
Yeah, from the back of his head,
of course.
It's not a foul from Neil Mopai.
Well, this could be interesting. A drop ball inside the United penalty area, but
he's no angel, but I think it was given as a foul.
Well, Mopai's receiving treatment, so too is Dalot. And we have just over a minute of normal time to play here.
I think Dalot's being clever, actually. He's the one whose head went back. It's the back of his head rather than Neil Maupai's front of his. I think that would hurt Maupai more.
Well, Mopai's being patched up. So if it stays like this, United would remain 6th in the table, 8 points behind Spurs and 11 points behind Villa, with a game in hand, but really they would be too far adrift to really have an impact, you feel. 4 points clear of West Ham, who of course lost today at Newcastle 4-3. Newcastle would be a further point back, and at the bottom Brentford would move on to 27 points. Everton 25, Forest 22, Luton 22, Burnley 18 and Sheffield United 15.
Big point for Burnley that today, wasn't it, at the Bridge?
Huge.
I mean, fair play to them. And I actually didn't think there was a penalty for Chelsea either.
And they are not out of it. 4 points adrift.
They're not now. They're not.
With 8 games to play.
The win against Brentford before the break, the draw against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, got a conference to take, down to 10 men as well. They're sneaking their way back into it.
There will be a minimum of 9 more minutes. So don't go anywhere. And there is still treatment here for Dalot and Mopai following the clash of heads inside the United penalty area. Of course, Everton losing again to another late goal, an own goal this time at Bournemouth. Forest and Palace with the 1-1 draw, probably of more use to Palace than Forest. Sheffield United blowing it really, 3-1 up with 4 minutes to play at home. Fulham came back to draw Rodrigo Muniz in added time, and then Son with another heartbreak moment for Luton. You think how many points Luton have given away late in games?
I was at the Bournemouth game. Say no more.
Well, they've done it at home to Liverpool earlier this season. They were winning that game late on and only drew, and it's... I'm not trying to pile on the agony for fair, just realised we were talking in face presence here. So.
I wonder why Fame is only looking at us there.
But, look, they've had their chances more than any other team down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which suggests they could get it right and they could pull themselves out of trouble.
They're still very much in the fight, you have to say, because they have that almost that cause feeling, the community, that what's gone on in their club the last decade, and they always knew that, you know, they would be in for a fight from the very start of the season. And I don't think Burnley quite knew it. Forest weren't hoping for it, and Everton weren't either. Brentford certainly not. Luton been ready for this.
And those games coming up in succession in April for Brentford: Sheffield United at home, Luton away, Everton away. They could be the games to decide it. Well, Dalot's had his head patched up, so too has Mopai. They'll be back on the field shortly. We're into 2 minutes of 9 added minutes, and now Jensen has found Mbeumo with pace down the right hand side. He'll break into the penalty area, and Mbeumo heading towards the byline delivers the cross in towards Tony. He goes down under a challenge. It's cleared away as far as Janelt. The shot though is blocked, and Tony will try and get back to his feet. Anthony is the player who gets the ball away. Mount finding McTominay. United now have the opportunity to break, but Mount was just clipped, and it will be a free kick given to United inside the centre circle as Mopai and Dalot eventually come back onto the field of play.
Yeah, and I actually think very clever play from you. Now that should be a yellow card. And very clever. United on the counter-attack, an opportunity arising. Just pulls Mason Mount back. Now they're able to get back into position.
Bruno Fernandes with the free kick inside the centre circle. We played 3 at the 9 minutes, but we barely played any of the first of the 2 at the 9 minutes due to the injury break, as Ayer challenged by Højlund on the far side, and the ball has gone straight out of play for a United throw-in. Nobody's leaving early.
Did you drive or did you get the train? What is the last train home?
Me?
I drove.
Yeah. But apparently the last train back to Manchester left at 8:02, so good luck. Wan-Bissaka will take the throw-in on the far side. And now Bruno Fernandes. And now Wan-Bissaka again, finding Casemiro midway inside the Brentford half. The first time ball forward is flicked on by Mount on the edge of the penalty area. Comes back out to Wan-Bissaka. Good ball to find Bruno Fernandes in towards McTominay. Headed away. Anthony nods it down. Casemiro looking to turn. Mount though has been robbed by Jensen. And Mopai can bring the ball clear for Brentford, finding Tony on the halfway line, holding off Dalot and Anthony. Godos plays it forward for Damsgaard, slices the ball up in the air, but it goes straight back towards Godos. Didn't mean that. Godos has then been fouled by a retreating McTominay, and Brentford will have another opportunity to pump the ball high into the box with 5 minutes of added time to play.
And that's exactly what they will do, because they've caused havoc all night with that ball into the box. They've been a lot better than that. They've played really good football. They counter-attacked really well, but when they have just stuck it in there, United have struggled to deal with them.
We'll get reaction from both clubs down in the tunnel following this game as well, as Janelt comes forward now, drives in a cross which was blocked at the near post by Bruno Fernandes, and it will be another throw-in for Brentford, another opportunity maybe for Jensen to hurl this ball high. Ticking towards the 96th minute here on TalkSport. Still Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. Brentford have had 29 efforts on goal in the game, but they've not scored with any of them. Is this the moment? Jensen making use of all the room he can on this near side, hurls it in towards the near post. It almost drops for Ayer inside the area. Janelt challenging, but now Anthony can bring the ball away for United over the halfway line. Mason Mount is in support. Excellent recovery challenge though from Godos on this near side, but Højlund working hard to win it back. Here is Bruno Fernandes wide towards Anthony again. Now Højlund again. Bruno Fernandes finding Casemiro. Good ball from him. Anthony now down the right. The cross into the penalty area is blocked at the near post. Nearly breaks for Højlund. Here is Casemiro, and now Mason Mount, and Mason Mount has done it. Can you believe it? In the 97th minute, Mason Mount scores his first goal for Manchester United, and it's stolen 3 points at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford cannot believe it. 29 attempts on goal, and it looks as though they are going to lose by a goal to nil. United, the Premier League's moments team, and Mason Mount has come up with a massive moment there.
Well, I'm just absolutely speechless, and I'm looking at pictures of Thomas Frank, and he's got a smile on his face because he cannot believe what he's just seen. And we've mentioned that 30 goal attempts now from Brentford. It says 4-5 with United, that being that one on target, but that does not tell the story. United have absolutely got away with this, but it doesn't matter. Not in terms of the results, not in terms of the chase of the Champions League, but I think it shows that they are a million miles away from where Ten Hag, where Sir Jim Ratcliffe, where the United fans want them to be. This is very much papering over the cracks, but at this moment in time, if you're a United fan, who cares?
This will be the 13th win this season in added time, the 9th time they've won after 75 minutes, the 4th time they've won in added time. They keep getting away with it.
They do, and you know what? The fact, if you keep on doing it, then there's a reason. Your fitness, physically, mentally. But my goodness me, if this was 4-1, that would probably be about right. Do you know what, Nigel? I'm really pleased for Mason Mount. Tough time. Been a very good Chelsea player.
He's a good guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a really good player, and he's had a tough time with his short United career so far.
Now Mbeumo with a cross into the penalty area. Breaks wide towards the far side. Jensen on the overlap down the right. Launches the cross in, headed away by Mount. There are Brentford fans around us looking dumbfounded. They are absolutely stunned. But here is Tony inside the penalty area, twisting and turning towards the byline, pulls it back, and Ayer is there to equalise. Christopher Ayer in the 99th minute may have rescued a point for Brentford. Manchester United took the lead, but they were unable to hold on, and the G-Tech Stadium erupts, and that is the least that Thomas Frank's team deserve. Brentford won, Manchester United won.
And you're right, Nigel, to say might, because there still could be another goal. You just don't know. But one thing about this Brentford side, they will never give up. Absolute brilliant play from Ivan Toney. He brought the ball out of the sky with a wonderful first touch. He didn't panic. He's inside the box. He went past two players. He cut the ball back. And there's your big centre-half to stick it in the back of the net. Brilliant from Toney. Fully deserved from Brentford.
Only Christopher Ayer's second goal for Brentford, but that is the least they deserve, let's be honest.
I'm telling you, this is a 4-5-1 game. United have got away with a point, but they'll take it now.
It's a game they should have won, though. Game they may still win. As Mount on the far side, challenged by Jorgensen. Well, United scored twice in added time to win the game back in October when Brentford led 1-0 for so long. Both teams have scored in added time here.
Nigel, I'm saying it's a 4-5-1 game, but you're absolutely right. United score so late on, they have to see this out. They have to get the win and get all 3 points. And whether you're stealing the points or whether it's daylight robbery, call it what you want. Who cares? You come away with the win. You don't concede when you've just gone up in the 96th minute? Wow.
The goals have been scored, I think, in 90+7 and 90+9. Mount and then Ayer. And United coming forward again with Mason Mount. Their fans now don't know whether to laugh or cry, but in many ways they've seen it all before. And Mount has won a corner now, and we're into the 101st minute. It's a good job we're on the air till 10:30, really. We'll try and get some reaction for you before the end of the programme, otherwise Adam Cattrall will be along with Fight Night later on tonight on TalkSport. The corner, high into the penalty area, Maguire challenging for the header, and it took a deflection off Jorgensen. It goes over the top for another United corner. They could have won it there again.
Well, it's 100+ minutes now, isn't it? So we're getting close to the last kick of the game, and the fact that United have the corner, this could well be the moment.
Bruno Fernandes will take it. 102 minutes on the clock. High into the penalty area. Mount will have to control at the far post. Goes back towards Wan-Bissaka. Delivered in high. Martinez managing to nod the ball down, but he's penalised for pulling down Janelt. And it will be a free kick for Brentford. They want to take it quickly. Hammered downfield by Collins. But the referee, I think, will just halt this now. McTominay tried to delay the restart. The Brentford players weren't happy about that. It was hammered clear by Collins, and the referee will have at least a word with McTominay and may well show him a yellow card.
Well, he's not wanting to come back, is he? And the referee's calling him and he's just ignoring him. It's got to be a yellow.
Well, if he does that, he'll definitely get booked.
It's got to be.
Well, McTominay is refusing to come towards the referee, and Simon Hooper's saying, look, we're not going to carry on until I've shown you the yellow card. And Simon Hooper, who was the spitting image of our producer here, Carl Riley, here tonight, has shown another yellow card.
How do you know that's not Carl down there?
Well, rather like Carl, he's kept very good control of this. It's been a good game and it's been well refereed.
It has. We're 12 minutes now into what was 9 minutes, 102 minutes gone. There's been a heck of a game. Loved it.
Neil Maupay was also shown a yellow card during that as well.
There's a shock.
Now Godos heads the ball down. It's controlled by Janelt. Squeezed further wide towards Collins. Now Damsgaard down the right, low into the penalty area for Tony. Good challenge though on the edge of the box for Maguire. Damsgaard though has it back. Brentford are streaming forward here, but Bruno Fernandes does well to play it back to Onana. He hammers it clear and we still play on. Jensen nods it forward. Maguire heads away. McTominay beaten to it by Janelt. And now Godos coming forward down the right. Did the ball take a deflection off Dalot? No, it didn't. It will be a United throw-in. And we are still going to play on for now. 104 minutes now. Thrown in field, hooked forward by Bruno Fernandes. Jorgensen goes all the way back towards Flecken. He will just hammer it downfield, but it's a miss kick from him. Never got off the ground, but he does find Mbuemo on the halfway line. And now Jensen launches it wide towards Tony. Is this the final chance of the game? He's got Godos in support. Godos now will attack the penalty area down the left. The cross though is deflected off Dalot. Headed away by McTominay. Tony wins it back. Now Godos needs to get the ball into the area. Collins challenged though by Anthony, but it breaks for Damsgaard. Damsgaard now low into the area for Maupay. He's onside, hammers the ball across, and it's cleared away by Wan-Bissaka. Janelt tries to win it back. It's brought clear by Casemiro. and now Bruno Fernandes releasing Casemiro over the halfway line. Doesn't quite have the pace to get there, but Anthony might. But the ball forward to him is cut up by Aya, and there goes the full-time whistle. What an extraordinary game with a remarkable finish. 1-1 in the end, a match which was utterly dominated by Brentford, but they fell behind in the 97th minute. Mason Mount scoring his first goal for Manchester United. It looked at that stage that Brentford would be denied at least a point they richly deserved, but United unable to hold on. Christopher Aya slotting in after great work by Ivan Toney in the 99th minute to equalise, and it's a point which ultimately is a good deal more use to Brentford at the bottom than Manchester United chasing the Champions League at the top. Full time, Brentford 1, Manchester United 1.